today we're going to be talking about why you need to get innovative. This is part of a series of where I'm trying to get everybody prepared for some of the healthcare changes that are coming down the pike that have to do with the One Big Beautiful Bill. And then we're also going to be pulling in some technology conversations with AI and all the good stuff. So I'm super excited about this series. So make sure that you definitely stay tuned over the next couple of weeks while we make sure that you're fully set up for the healthcare shift that we're preparing for, I'll say. Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love. Part of being innovative is so you don't get left behind. I think one of the best examples of this, and you have probably heard this, you probably have read this, especially if you are reading any kind of business books, is Blockbuster. So Blockbuster was huge. If you are maybe thinking about back in the day, I know for me, I remember date nights at Blockbuster. I remember family times at Blockbuster. And there was just something so magical about walking around the video store, picking out a video, me feeling special as a kid because I got my own video. I have a sister who is younger than me. She got her own special video. And then fast forward to even college where I had so many late fees. Like one of my Christmas gifts was my Blockbuster late fees getting paid off for me. That's how bad of a Blockbuster late fee that I had is where my loving and gracious stepfather went ahead and paid for it. It was wrapped up in a gift in a box with a red bow. And I just was like, thank you so much. Because I was kind of a broke college person. So that's when I think about Blockbuster. And so fast forward to later adult years, you guys maybe know like Redbox. So then there was Redbox and everybody's now going to grocery stores and gas stations to rent DVDs. And then fast forward to when Blu-ray players came out and now we can start to stream and now there's Netflix and now Netflix competes with Prime Video and Hulu and all of these things. But the person who is not part of this conversation is Blockbuster, right? So when we talk about innovation, we have to make sure that we're keeping up with the times. We have to make sure that we're being proactive and not reactive, that we're paying attention. So even with last week's episode, I talked to making sure that you're getting out of the silos, making sure that you're exposing yourself to other people and other types of industries. So that way you can pick up what's real best practices and you can really fuel what it means to be an innovative CEO. So even inside of private practice CEO, the mastermind that I have, we are going in depth with some of these conversations. And even at the time of this recording, we're spending a whole month diving into like AI tools, looking at operations, thinking about how can we, instead of hiring the person, what would be the automation version of this, or what would be maybe even the AI version of this in order to make an impact, but also to save on the profitability of a practice too, right? So there's all kinds of tools and things that you can start to bring inside of your practice. And so part of the goal is to get comfortable because change can be scary. Incorporating technology, especially if you're not technically savvy, can be scary too. And so some of it is just coming from a place of being open. If you don't have CEO time on your calendar, then you're selling yourself short because this is going to require you to be thinking about innovation. How can we change things up? If you get stuck into this is the way that we've always done it, I don't know why we do things the way that we do. It's just kind of always been this way. If your team is saying that, like if your team can even justify why you're doing some of the things that you're doing inside of your practice, then you're going to be in a place where you're just stuck going through the mundane, the day after day after day after day. You're just showing up with no real reason why or awareness for do you need to change things. So Blockbuster, they missed the point, right? They missed the opportunity to take their store and put it into a virtual space. They missed the opportunity to maybe collaborate with other people that were doing bigger things in the space to see how they could remain relevant. So if I had to imagine those meetings, there was probably at some point in time where that CEO could have made a pivot, right? There could have been a change. There could have been a decision in order to help them still be relevant today. Like I remember even one of the Blu-ray players that I had, where there was an option for Blockbuster. But by that time, I had Netflix and I had other options. Blockbuster was just like another thing I would have to pay. It just didn't have the same type of feeling as what it once did when I was sitting there having to pick the option on my Blu-ray player. You don't want that to be the version of your practice. You don't want to be in a place where things are looking good on paper, right? So Blockbuster looked good on paper. But at some point in time, they got to a place where they had to go out of business. There's a reel, which I thought was so cool. There's a reel where I guess there's one location, like one whole location of nostalgia for Blockbuster. And there was a reel where it was this guy and his family. They went there, they were walking around, they were smelling like the butter popcorn and kind of going back old school. And the kids just looked so miserable, like, why are we here? Why are we doing this? And so you don't want that, again, you don't want that version for it to be your practice, right? So the innovation time, making sure that you're giving yourself the thinking time that you need in order to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. There's a great book. It's called Good to Great by Jim Collins. So it's a red book. It's kind of a business classic, I'll say. And he talks about, another great example would be Circuit City. Circuit City was like an old school, like a Best Buy. Best Buy and Circuit City were competition to each other, I remember. And so Circuit City didn't make it. The book goes into the leadership that Circuit City had because they actually were able to do some really great things while they were open. But fast forward to today, we have Best Buy, right? So Best Buy went through the exact same economy, went through the exact same options, went through the exact same business shifts, but they're still here today. So some of the things that they did different was, when we think about Best Buy, they now have the Geek Squad. So they expanded their services. They thought outside the box. They thought about, how can we care for our customer in a deeper way? We have people who are coming in buying all these technology devices, don't know how to care for them, don't know how to really work them. So why don't we give them a resource to help make sure that they're successful? And then we can also have what Geek Squad has, because I have it, is a membership. So every month I'm paying for a membership, because just in case my MacBook gives out, or just in case my phone isn't working right, or just in case my iPad isn't working right, I can take it to the Geek Squad, because the Geek Squad for me is closer than the Apple Store. So it's important for you to think about this when it comes to your patient. What is your version of like the Geek Squad? What is your version of a way that you can care for your patient in a deeper way, for your client in a deeper way, that's going to help you stay relevant, right? So again, Best Buy, they have online, offline, like as we think about industries over the time, and where a lot of companies have had to kind of form to online. Why? Because Amazon came, and with all the online business and with all the resources that they provide, everybody had to think different. And so if you've ever watched the documentary, you know me, I love business. There's the documentary for Jeff Bezos. And so one of the conversations that he has inside this documentary, it's kind of a fake documentary, but it still maps out his life up until the time he created Amazon. And one of the conversations I had was with the CEO of Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble laughed at Amazon, because if you remember Amazon, and I talked about Amazon and how much they have definitely changed in a past episode, but if you think about Amazon, they first started out in books. It was online books. That's the business that they started out in. And Barnes & Noble was like, whatever, like, get out of my space, poo on you. And look at Amazon now. Amazon has every single nook of business like covered. And if they haven't covered it, they're in process of working their way to cover it, right? And so when we think about the practice, and we think about just different types of industries, different types of businesses, because there's a difference between trends, things that are just kind of fleeting, and things that are going to be a staple, right? And things that are just going to be here to stay and will not go away. So when we think about the healthcare shift, that's what's happening. There are things that are happening that are not going to go away. And we don't want to be Barnes & Noble, even though great, Barnes & Noble's is still here. But Barnes & Noble's also had to do some catch up, because Jeff Bezos was right. Jeff Bezos was onto something. And so fast forward, all these businesses are now online. They have an online version. There's Instacart now that can be delivered, for groceries, because Amazon went and bought Whole Foods and changed up the grocery game. Now we can get books, and we can get products, and we can get all these things. And so what has it forced the industry to do? everybody now has where you can have something delivered to your home because they had to keep up with Amazon. So what can you do, again, inside of your practice where people will have to keep up with you? So this is where, again, you have to give yourself that thinking time. You have to give yourself that innovation time. I'm going to say that 50 million times because one of the things I always see is people get stuck in the weeds and people get stuck in the day-to-day and people get stuck in not paying attention to the higher level things that are happening inside their practice. And it usually comes down to, when was the last time you gave yourself CEO time? When was the last time you gave yourself thinking time? Oh, I didn't do it. Or, oh, I missed it. Or they think because they're just in their office, thinking time, have fun with it. Schedule your vacation at the beach and give yourself thinking time. Go to a coffee shop, give yourself thinking time. Make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. If there's a home office that inspires you, give yourself thinking time. It's not always you being behind your desk, behind your laptop, or behind your desktop, whatever, or in the practice where your thinking time is actually going to be beneficial. More times than not, your innovation might happen in the shower. It might happen in your car. What you need to do is make sure that you're ready for it, and you need to make sure that you're purposely giving yourself this time or paying attention to it so that way you can be successful. So one of the things I think is so cool is, and I've talked to this on past episodes, where I think multidisciplinary is just amazing. And I love, love, love when a business can actually create, we got what you need right here inside these four walls or in these multiple locations. And there's power to that, right? And so when we think about the collaboration opportunity and you thinking about, again, outside the box, what is the uncommon partnerships that you can dive into? What is the type of service that you could bring into your practice to make sure that you're set up for success? This is what I will say, because there is a disclaimer here. I have clients who, for example, I serve women. And because I serve women, I'm going to bring in like all these med spa services. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. But where people go wrong with this is they don't prepare their audience, or they don't know that they're supposed to market when they bring in like a different service like that, right? So they think like, oh, I brought in a machine, so we're in business, and it doesn't work that way. But when I think about collaborations, I think that would be so cool for people if you did bring in these types of services, if you have the right foundation, which is the work that I do inside of Private Practice CEO, which is a shameless plug, but it's true. Where if you have the right foundation and you're setting yourself up for the services that you want to provide, and that's what's really important in this time, is you have to be vision, you have to be forward thinking, and not just trying to, again, be in the weeds, stuck in the mundane. You guys know what I'm going to say. Where you can actually think about like, oh, I want to bring in med spa services. What do I need to do to make sure that my practice is set up for that? So if I decide to bring in med spa services 2 years from now, what needs to happen today to make sure that I'm set up for that type of clientele? I'm set up for that type of pricing. I'm set up for that type of person who would actually appreciate that type of luxe service. And then you set up your partnerships, your collaborations. Now, most people miss that mark. Most people just, I'm going to do this thing, bring it in. And I'm not mad at it, because you want to make fast decisions as a CEO, but you also want to be intentional as a CEO. But I think over the next couple of years, it's going to be really interesting to see what type of partnerships people come up with, how people step outside the box, the creativity that will come from this, because you're going to have to. You are going to have to. And if you're not, then unfortunately, my friend, you're going to get left behind. So just even from a really great thing, I'll leave you with a tip and then we're done. In that CEO time, just give yourself free reign. Like, what is the most craziest idea that you could come up with to do inside of your practice? Like, wave your magic wand. What would you want it to be? And just any kind of crazy idea. This would also be a really great activity with your team. So if you have an engaged team, if you have leaders, definitely if you have a leadership team, sit around and think about what is the most craziest thing that we could bring into this practice. Like, just no idea is off bars, no stupid idea. And have fun with it, because that's the type of innovation that it's going to take. Because when we think about, again, Netflix, Prime Video, there was somebody that sat there at a table and did not put themselves in the box of we only have to walk around Blockbuster in order to grab a DVD or a VHS. Gosh, I'm dating myself. And we're now going to have apps, and we're now going to give the consumer the experience of being able to download a video or download a movie on a TV inside of their living room. And somebody probably sat there and said, there's no way that's going to happen. There's no way that that will ever be popular. There's nobody who's going to do that. And here we are, where we all sit inside of our living rooms and we turn on our TVs and we're literally going through, what app do I want to watch? What movie do I want to watch? What series do I want to binge? And that is our world today. So be that CEO, be curious, be innovative, have fun with it, and definitely engage your teams. In order for me to do my part and to help you stay innovative inside of your practice, we are now officially hosting private practice CEO masterclasses. And so this is a monthly masterclass where we're going to do real live conversations, real live strategy, real live training for 60 minutes to help you to step up as a CEO, to be more of an innovative CEO, to be a more empowered CEO, and then also helping you to get out of your weeds, get more time back, help you have a practice run without you, be able to have more freedom inside your practice, all the good things. If you are interested in joining me for the next Private Practice CEO Masterclass, which is completely free, then go ahead and see the show notes today. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.